Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing one of the final, not even mock drafts, real draft, $5 in this. This one is the puppy number 3 on Underdog, best ball draft. We have as much news as we possibly can have. All the cuts have happened. We're waiting on 2 more people to join this 12-team half-point PPR best ball tournament on Underdog. If you want to join me, if you want to play on there, especially if before the season starts, get in there. There's $1,001,000. Yes, $1,001 to first place contest, a bunch of other contests as well. But what we are doing here is we are drafting now with complete news. Preseason is over. These teams have been cut down to 53-man rosters. Players that have gotten cut have moved on to new teams, like a Wayne Gallman going to Atlanta. So now there's going to be little news that comes out to be changing stuff out because these camps are on lockdown for the final week of the season. So now this 12-team draft starts in less than a minute, and we're going to hop on into it. If you have a second of your time, ladies, gentlemen, and you beautiful fellas out there, hey, take that second and hit the like button. So let's slide into it right now and we can pull this up. I'm drafting from the 5 spot, which is an interesting spot in the drafts. And I'm going to pull up my rankings and tiers on my other screen. If you want to be using my rankings and tiers, you surely can do so by checking them out down below in the draft guide. Again, they are updated every day. So when the Mike news and the Wayne Gallman news dropped yesterday, or the Mike Davis impacted news by Wayne Gallman drops yesterday, we are basically updating that within, I don't know, it was probably a half hour when it was fully updated. So you can check all of that out on the draft guide down below. I assume many of you are drafting this weekend. I have some more drafts this weekend. So let's get into it. Damn, this orange color is just popping on me right now. I mean, this feels lovely. So we're going to try and talk through like the number 1 draft strategy. This is the middle of the draft, the 5 spot, right? At the end of the draft, you've seen my strategy there. You've seen that I usually like to and very typically go with a lot of wide receiver heavy builds. Like if I'm drafting 10th in a 12-man league or 10th in a 10-man league, I just want to go wide receiver, at least 1 wide receiver there, if not 2, because if you're going running back, you're getting the worst of what's left at running back. And then the people behind you are getting the best at wide receiver, the best at tight end, and now you're sitting here playing catch up at every position. I'd rather just dominate one position. So if you're drafting 1st or 2nd, like this guy who just took McCaffrey, you automatically dominated the first position because McCaffrey is potentially in a tier of his own this year. So you go there with Christian McCaffrey, and you can see I'm now up next. So this is a tough spot for me to usually draft from as Zeke goes, as Alvin Kamara goes, because this spot right here for me, it's either elite running back, and it's not Derrick Henry. It's either Aaron Jones for me here or Davante Adams. And this is kind of a tier break. Guys on the same team, who feels more safe, Aaron Jones or Davante Adams? To be honest with you, they both feel pretty similar, but I'm going to go here with Davante Adams at the 5 spot. So 5th overall, that's the first spot where I would consider going with a wide receiver if those exact players go off the board. If Ezekiel Elliott would have fallen to 4, I would have gone Zeke. If it would have been Alvin Kamara falling to 4 or 5, I would have gone Alvin Kamara. But with Saquon Barkley on the board, with some of these other guys on the board, I'll take the no questions at all about Mr. Dalvin or Mr. Dalvin Cook. I'm seeing Davante Adams on the board. So we'll go with Adams there. We'll start with a wide receiver build. As you can see, the rest of the draft is going. And to you, that might seem crazy because I know last year I was all aboard the running backs, right? Get 2, maybe even 3 in a row because the running backs were so strong. And then week after that. This year, that's not the case. This year, the running backs are strong in the first round. They're kind of weak through rounds, really, end of round 2 to all the way through round 6. And then the guys in round 8 to 12 are very similar to the guys in round 4, 5, and 6. So why not just wait to rounds 8 to 12 and load up on elite receivers during that time? You could see a couple more elite receivers go, and these guys are probably building similar builds as to what I would do, the number 1 draft strategy at the end of drafts in terms of drafting receivers. So Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and you can double back and get 2 elite receivers. You can keep piling on. This guy gets Aaron Jones at the 11th spot. I mean, if Aaron Jones falls to the 11th spot, I would probably take him in most drafts and not go receiver there, so good pick by him. But yes, I think that's a solid start. Now, if you're drafting 1st, 2nd, or 3rd overall, like if you get a McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Zeke, whoever it might be, Kamara, I'd go with one of those guys. And then my next 2 picks, I'm definitely going wide receiver. Maybe you go Darren Waller if you're feeling that, if he falls to you even. But I'm definitely going wide receiver there because you already dominated your first pick. If you draft McCaffrey, you really don't have to draft another running back unless one falls, a Joe Mixon falls somehow to that turn, whatever it might be. You really don't have to draft another running back. Probably, if I'm being completely honest with you, all the way until rounds, I don't know, 5, 6 at the earliest. I probably would go to 7. So you can see him on the board here yet again. Antonio Gibson goes, Nick Chubb goes. So I'm looking at the board, and Jonathan Taylor's there, Joe Mixon is there, but a guy that I really want is there. My number 6 overall wide receiver, recently put out in a video that I just made, and that man's name is Justin Jefferson. So I'm starting my draft off with arguably the 2 best wide receivers last year in the NFL, in Davante Adams and Justin Jefferson. And obviously, I know how good Steph Diggs was, and I know how good Tyreek was. I'm saying arguably the two best, right? Calvin Ridley was great last year. If you're talking efficiency standpoint wise and breaking rookie records wise, Justin Jefferson, clearly a beast. So now I get to start my draft. And you might be saying, Sal, why don't you go Mixon? Why don't you go Jonathan Taylor there? Well, I just want to keep dominating. Well, first of all, Jonathan Taylor, I'm not as high on than the competition. Mixon would have been the guy that I've gone to there. It was between Mixon and Justin Jefferson for me. Justin Jefferson, I just have ranked higher. I mean, this is a guy now with no Irv Smith for the season. You have an aging 32-year-old Adam Thielen, and you have Justin Jefferson coming off of the best rookie season of all time and not slowing down. Now, I know there's a shoulder injury that he's dealing with. He's expected to be ready for week 1. So what you're getting here is a guy who is in a target competition now where it's Adam Thielen, who was not that heavily targeted last year. Targets continue to drop for him as he struggles to separate. And then it's basically him. Like, it's Tyler Conklin. They don't have a wide receiver 3, right? They have D.D. Westbrook, who hasn't yet to practice because he's recovering from that ACL injury. They really have nobody out there, which is actually pretty concerning if you're the Minnesota Vikings. Like Amir Smith-Marset, their rookie, is going on the kickoff and punt return. That's never good for a guy who you would actually see as valuable. KJ Osborne is like their wide receiver 3 because they cut Chad Beebe, because they lost Olabisi Johnson for the season. So there's not much there. It's like Dalvin Cook out of the backfield, Adam Thielen, and Jefferson. And you might be saying, Thielen gets all the touchdowns. Jefferson had a very high red zone and target rate last year. It wasn't as high as Thielen's because Thielen has had a 2-year span that is the most ever targets in a 2-year span, but it was still pretty high. Joe Mixon falls to the 3-2. What a pick there. I mean, I would definitely pick Joe Mixon if he would have fallen to me. And we're going to get a great wide receiver here. I mean, A.J. Brown. This is amazing. So this is what I like to do. I like to start 3 wide receivers if I can. And A.J. Brown and Amari Cooper are still on the board. They're coin flips for me. I have a lot of Amari Cooper this year. I'm just going to take A.J. Brown here. So I just started off my draft, and I rarely am able – I've never been able to get this. I guess picking from the 5 spot really opened you up for a lot of opportunities. But I was just able to secure Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and A.J. Brown, 3 of my top 10 ranked wide receivers. 3 wide receivers that you're not shocked if they've all finished within the top 5 this year. So here's my debate on that. You might be saying, Sal, you already had 2 wide receivers. Why didn't you go running back in the 3rd round? Because I have a top 10 wide receiver ranked there, and the best available running back is fucking Chris Carson or David Montgomery or James Robinson, who look a whole lot like the guys who go in round 5, like Gus Edwards and Damian Harris, who also look a whole lot like the guys who go in round 7, like Trey Sermon, right? So it's just this revolving door. There's one guy that I will be targeting in round 4 if he is still there, and I like him a lot because the massive upside of potentially being able to catch 80 balls, and this is how I would go about my draft if you're picking basically anywhere from honestly 5 through 10. This would be my rankings. If you're picking 1 through 4, take that elite running back up top and then go back-to-back receivers, which you probably could have gone with A.J. Brown and Allen Robinson in this specific draft, which is clearly fantastic. Now, a lot of receivers are going. So this is the thing. Receivers are going to start to go off the board heavy now. And I mean very heavy because people picked running backs 1 or 2 early on. So now you get a lot of receivers to stay on the board, and people start to snag them. But we already got the elite ones. So now everybody else is playing catch up with me. And if DeAndre Swift can fall to my 4th pick, and that's the man I'm looking for here, although, I mean, James Robinson, Miles Sanders, Chris Carson, all still on the board. But if Miles Sanders is able to fall to me in the late 4th round, I feel very good about that. And receiver just keeps getting hammered here. James Robinson being drafted closes that. But I mean, receiver went 4 picks in a row, and it went 9 out of 10 picks in a row. I mean, you have to take a running back when that happens because you know you're getting the worst of the worst receivers available. So my top right now, 19 receivers are gone. My top 14 running backs are gone. I'm on the board in 3 picks here. There's still so many good receivers. Like, this is best ball, and ideally you're not playing in a league that only rosters 2 receivers and 1 flex spot. If you are, and you probably have kickers in that league too, get in a better league. Start to actually vote. Make it a democracy. Start to vote each year. Whether you have to do it in person, whether you have to use Google Forms, and stop playing with just 1 flex spot. Fantasy football is fun. You should be able to start more people. My main league has 3 flex spots, or 4 flex spots now, 3 last year. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm on the board now. Kyle Pitts goes. I have my choose here of what I want. I have DJ Moore here. I have Brandon Ayuk. Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift are still on the board. I think I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift here. I mean, we made it all the way to the end of the 4th round, and DeAndre Swift, who is apparently not in game shape yet as of a couple days ago. I'm not too worried about a supreme athlete who's young getting fully into game shape. Obviously, he's been hurt in camp. But DeAndre Swift, going to be iffy for week 1. I'm fine getting to DeAndre Swift there. So now we have 3 stud receivers and DeAndre Swift, who is a wild card because of his health, but really only for weeks 1 and week 2 at most. They didn't put him on IR. They're not too concerned with that. Like so many other teams put players on IR to automatically miss 6 weeks. This seems to be something that, you know what, he should be healthy by week 2. We hope he's healthy by week 1. So Swift there, obviously massive upside in an offense that is lacking any sort of real I would say playmakers aside from TJ Hawkinson. I mean, they have nothing there at the wide receiver core when Tyrell Williams is your wide receiver 1, and you just picked up like Cardale Hodges on waivers, and he might be like the 4th best receiver on your team. And a lot of you might be like, who the hell is Cardale Hodge? Yeah, I mean, he's a depth receiver for the past couple of years for the Cleveland Browns, and he literally might be the 4th, if not 3rd, better than Quintus Cephas receiver on the Detroit Lions. You know who the number 1 receiver is? TJ Hawkinson. You know who number 2 is? A running back. Yeah, DeAndre Swift. So we start heavy there with a bunch of receivers. We get a running back, and Miles Sanders is also in the category of guys I would have taken there with that, not 4th pick because he's always available in the 5th round where we are right now. So I could have gone at that spot. I could have gone like DJ Moore or Brandon Ayuk, picked up my 4th receiver, and then said, okay, I hope Miles Sanders makes it back to me in another 7 picks, which it looks like he might. So maybe that's a mistake on my end, but it's easy to say that now. Hindsight's 2020. But that's another thing that I would do. And hopefully Miles Sanders goes here so I don't feel like I have any of that. I don't have any regrets. But that's what I would usually do because I feel like there's a lot more security in the top receiver than there is in these running backs and bad offenses. So I'm back on the board. Miles Sanders does make it to me. I'm not taking it on back-to-back running backs here. I'm going to be honest with you. Miles Sanders in the 5th is not a bad idea for a workhorse RB1, but there's some wide receivers on the board that I really want. So in the 5th round, I mean, we have right now Jamar Chase, Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, Cortland Sutton is still on the board. He might fall a lot. I'm going to go here with Let's go with Odell Beckham Jr. So we'll get my 4th receiver. So my 4th receiver and my 5th pick is Odell. If you've been watching my recent videos, you know that I actually enjoy Odell. I don't hate Odell. I'm not in love with Odell Beckham Jr. by any means. Don't tell my girlfriend. I mean, maybe he's a good-looking dude. He got the chops cut off on the top. But what are you going to do? But here we are in the 5th round getting him. I'll take that for a guy who's only finished in a healthy season outside wide receiver 7 one time. I know he's older now. I know that was maybe a long time ago to many of you. It really wasn't. When he's been fully healthy for a year, he's only finished outside a top 7 receiver once. It was his first year with the Browns, switching to a new team. Baker Mayfield's first year as the full starting quarterback. They ended up having turmoil at the coaching position. That was before they got Kevin Stefanski. So I won't give him a full pass for finishing as like the 32nd wide receiver, averaging 12.6 points per game. But now he's being taken there. He's being taken as the 30th receiver off the boards. So his floor that we've seen in his career is where he's being taken right now. In my opinion, there's only upside to what you can get from Odell's current ADP. And Miles Sanders goes at the 5'10". A great spot to get Miles Sanders. I think the same guy got Aaron Jones later in the draft. Let's see. No, he didn't. He ended up taking Tyreek. So, yeah, he started wide receiver. So, he only went one wide receiver. So, a really weird spot to draft. Like, if you get a wide receiver in round 1, I'm probably not hammering 3 running backs in a row. Like, that's just bad running back value. Now, he did get Miles Sanders to fall to him, but he took, he just took some weird-ass players after that. James Robinson and all these guys. So Logan Thomas goes, Logan Thomas is going earlier and earlier these days. 5th round in this best ball. And if you're watching this like, holy shit, these players are going earlier than I thought, this is because you're drafting against sharp people. The underdog platform is a lot of sharp people right now. Mike Davis goes at the 6th one. I would not be drafting him there. You can see my recent rankings. You can see my recent TikTok on that Mike Davis situation. I released that yesterday. That is not something that I want to be a part of. Wayne Gallman might not seem like a threat. Wayne Gallman, 7 out of 11 of his starts last year finished as a top 24 running back. Behind that bad offensive line, he was efficient. Top 20 in juke rate. Top 20 in true yards per carry. Top 20 in broken tackles. Wayne Gallman was a solid running back last year. And here's the end of the deal, right? Mike Davis, Wayne Gallman, they're the same fucking guy. They're journeyman running backs, and I'm up next, so I have to stop my Wayne Gallman rant. I was right in the middle of it. I was getting hot. I was getting heated. But they're journeyman running backs who don't really do much, in my opinion. Like, they don't move the needle all that much for their offenses. So now I'm here in the 6th round, and I'm just going to keep compiling wide receivers because really good ones are still on the board. One specifically, and I'm hoping that Jim Arrange does not take this. Jim Arrange, what a name. He does not take the guy I wanted. Devonta Smith goes way too early, and I'm going to get Cortland Sutton here. Cortland Sutton, who looked great in that last preseason game. Cortland Sutton, who 2 years ago, before he tore his ACL, a young player coming off an ACL. I'm not concerned with that. This is modern-day medicine. But Cortland Sutton 2 years ago, 2019, with Joe Flacco, Brandon Allen, and the rookie Drew Lock, which is a brutal quarterback combo, 72 catches, over 1,100 yards, 6 fucking touchdowns. Now he has, which is sad to say, the best quarterback of his career in Teddy Bridgewater. Again, sad to say, Allen Robinson vibes there. But that is the honest truth. So now I have 5 receivers, and I love the way that this is starting. DeAndre Swift, this is very similar to how my home league went. Like, I got DeAndre Swift, I got Cortland Sutton, but I got Devontae Adams. So you have Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and A.J. Brown. Somehow we start with those. Odell and Cortland Sutton. We're just dominating the receiver position right now. This is best ball, so you don't have to start guys. You get the best guys to start off your bench. But this is how I would even draft a redraft league. You might be saying, well, why do you keep drafting receivers? You already have your roster spots filled. So if you're a true believer that you have to fill all your roster spots before filling your bench, then I'm assuming that you take a tight end in round 5 and a quarterback in round 6, and you're taking your defense at a certain point, right? Come on now. We all know it's all about depth. We all know it's all about getting the best players on your team. And if you have 6 great wide receivers, perfect. You can now trade one of them. First of all, you have depth. So no matter what, you're always going to be starting solid wide receivers. You're not going to be starting guys who are inconsistent or laying eggs for you like most of the fucking running backs after running back 15 to running back 20 range. But yes, it is a very good spot, a luxury to be in. So now I'm here in the 7th round. And I've got to start looking, I believe, at quarterback now. I don't really want any of these guys. Lamar Jackson is the guy who's falling a ton. The 2 guys in front of me have quarterbacks, so Lamar is going to be my pick here. There's obvious concerns about his entire team being fucking unhealthy. Miles Boykin on IR, short-term IR for Rashad Bateman, who will come back after a couple weeks, week 3, week 4. Hollywood Brown's still dealing with his hamstring injury. So, yeah, it's hard to stack Lamar Jackson. It would have to be late with some of these injured guys like a Sammy Watkins and all those types of players. But Lamar Jackson falling to this middle of the 7th round, unless some news broke, is a crime. So I'm going Lamar Jackson here. I know there's concerns over the whole COVID situation with him, but mobile, elite rushing upside, which is the definition of Lamar Jackson. In general, I want mobile quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson is a 5th-round pick. He goes off the board at pick 55. So, yes, getting him in the middle of the 7th round is as strong as it gets. So now I have a quarterback secured. I can try and get a stack with that later on in a Corey Davis, a Bateman, all these guys on his team who are fucking injured. You get to get them the cheap right now. So I have 1 running back, I have 1 quarterback. I'm not going to take a tight end until late at this point. I don't have to take a second quarterback until later on. And I have 5 strong receivers. Now, if I look at my receivers, I want to try and stack them. If you're not familiar with stacking, it's just getting correlation. It's combining a pass catcher with their pass thrower, a.k.a. the quarterback. So just looking at the wide receivers that I own on my roster here, I have Devontae Adams. I can still get Rodgers. I have Justin Jefferson. I have A.J. Brown, which a Tannehill in like round 10 could be interesting. I have Odell, and I have Cortland Sutton. I don't really want Odell or Cortland Sutton's quarterbacks, but a Tannehill could be pretty interesting if I can get him in like round 10. He probably will go in like round 9, but round 10, 11, if Tannehill's still on the board, I'll double tap him, or not double tap, but I'll get my second quarterback there. Be done with quarterback. Already had that Tannehill, A.J. Brown stack locked up. Maybe get an Anthony Firsker with like my 18th round pick. I know he's not the greatest at tight ends, but literally no tight ends are great outside of the top, 3, 4, maybe 5. You can convince me. I mean, I know people want to project T.J. Hockenson to have a breakout year in Kyle Pitts, and I do think they have a lot of upside. They're both in my top 5 of tight ends, but it's not like we can just say they're elite already, right? There's question marks about those guys just like there is, and there goes fucking Ryan Tannehill. So Ryan Tannehill goes in the motherfucking 8th round. God damn. So that kind of ruins the A.J. Brown stack that I wanted to do. I'm not going to take Rodgers this early. It's just tough without any mobile upside. Tannehill at least has some. I mean, Rodgers has some as well. But, I mean, Rodgers had arguably the best year, definitely top 2, but arguably the best year right next to 2011, year of his career last year, and he still couldn't crack the top 2 quarterbacks because he doesn't have mobile upside. It's just like Derrick Henry had one of the best seasons of all time for a running back, 2,000 yards. Nobody's ever done that twice, so people relying on that again, probably not going to work out. But nobody's ever done that twice. Derrick Henry finishes his outside the top 2 running backs because he doesn't catch passes. So now I'm a couple picks away, and I really need to start looking at what I want to do here. I mean, just looking at wide receivers available, Michael Gallup goes. There's still some strong guys available, especially for being at the end of the 8th round. Looking at running backs available, I only have 1. I should secure a second one soon. I mean, we have Sony Michel that I like here. It's probably a little too early for me to want to be taking Sony Michel, but I'm not against it. In my 9th round pick, I'm going to try and secure Sony Michel. Mike Williams goes. There's still a lot of good receivers. I mean, I'm on the board right now. Michael Pittman goes. I was going to take Michael Pittman, but Marvin Jones is still there. That allows. So I'm going to take Marvin Jones here because that will allow me to try and get Trevor Lawrence in a couple of picks. So let's go Marvin Jones. So we get Marvin Jones, and now we'll try and stack it up with the Trevor Lawrence pick. And I will try and secure that in the 9th round because Lawrence has been going earlier and earlier lately. Lawrence's ADP right now, actually, I might be able to wait till round 10. Lawrence's ADP is currently 11-1. It may be a little bit of a risk. That's my 6th receiver, by the way, in Marvin Jones, which feels fucking great. Sony Michel goes at the 8-10, so shit. Another running back that's maybe a little sneaky that I'm trying to get is James White. Now that Mac Jones is there, I think James White is great. Went from like my RB49 to my RB36. Mac Jones checked down 28.9% of the time to running backs in the preseason on 52 attempts. That's a decent sample. I mean, that's 1 to 1.5 games of a sample of him checking down to running backs often. Why? Because he's a smart quarterback who takes the easy read, right? He gets through his progressions. He's very good in pocket awareness. He sees his first read. It's not open. He goes to his second read. It's not open. And he gets to that third read, which is James White out of the backfield. He gets to it a lot more often than most quarterbacks will. So that's why James White is strongly in play for me. Let's see what we have here. I need running backs, obviously. This is pretty almost a 0 RB build since we have DeAndre Swift. That does help us. But I'm really not sweating it because I only need to get really 2 stud running backs, right? 2 strong running backs, and I'm already secure on all these wide receivers. Let's get some coffee. Let's take the break here. The coffee's a nice temperature. It's nice enough where you can drink it and not burn your entire fucking face off. You'd love to see that. This draft's going quick. I mean, we've been drafting right now for only 18 minutes. I mean, this draft is going really fucking quick. I'm already on the clock again. All right. So do I want Justin Herbert here? Or not Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. I think I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence here. It might be a little bit early, but I'm looking at what's left on the board. Will Fuller, Tony Pollard, James White, Landry. I mean, Fuller would be the only other option, which, fuck it. Let's keep going. Let's go Will Fuller here. Another receiver. 7 fucking receivers. How do you like that? We're 9 rounds in. We have 7 receivers, 1 running back, and a quarterback. Now you might be saying, Sal, you're going off the boards here. You're going crazy. No, I'm trying to load up on one position. This is an 18-round draft with no kickers and no defense. You should be aware of that. If you want to play on this, you should. $1 million to first contest, $50K to first contest. So many other contests that are small with just 12 people, like season-long leagues. Check them out all down below. If you use the code SAL, you'll get $25 for free to play with. So you can check that all out down below. I probably should have plugged that earlier on. What are you going to do? Help your boy out. Help your boy pay for all these lights that are on him right now at 6:37 a.m. in the morning. Drake's album drop. We ballin'. But it's an 18-round draft. So 18 rounds of no kicker and defense. I'm going to probably draft a minimum of 8, probably 9 to 10 wide receivers. I'm really only going to draft 4, maybe 5 running backs since I don't have the strongest of running backs right now. But these next 2 picks are going to be, since I have 7 receivers, quarterback and running back. And the main reason why, here's the reason why I took Will Fuller there. Because Will Fuller's he's going to miss 1 week. He's a great receiver. He goes outside the top 35, around wide receiver 40, and there goes James White. I mean, that's just a fucking dagger. God damn it. In the 9th round, son of a bitch. But Will Fuller, I took him mainly because if Trevor Lawrence was to go now, Tua would be my next option in terms of stacking. So I'm just trying to look ahead there by having more options to stack up with later on. But that James White is a real kick to the dick because James White was my best available. I didn't think people would go that early on James White, so now I am going to struggle at running back. But we can just patch this thing together. Like, there's still a lot of pass-catching running backs. I'm going to go with this next pick, 2 picks away, Trevor Lawrence, hoping that he does not go to this Jimmer guy in front of me, hoping that that guy does not have, like, a Chenault and a Shark stack. He does not have any receivers from Jacksonville, so I don't expect him to take him there. Robert Tonyan goes. I'm just trying to clear these guys off my board here. Jalen Hurts is still available at this point. God damn, why did I take Lamar Jackson that early? I didn't actually take him early. He dropped to me. So Russell Gage goes, who I'm not that high on personally. All right, so we're going to take Trevor Lawrence here. He falls to us. We now have our second. Let me actually make sure that these guys have different bye weeks. They do. Thank you. I figured they do. I've been doing this enough. I've had this stack before, or these 2 combinations before. So we get Trevor Lawrence stacked up with Marvin Jones there. That feels very good. There goes Trey Lance and some other guys. So now I'm a couple picks away. I need to start taking running backs like soon. But what are you gonna do? We're still here. We're still vibing. I think Laviska Shenault already went because people just love that guy. He just goes so fucking early. This is around the time that I think he should go, like end of round 10. I was gonna double stack that team up, but we're fine right now. We got the Marvin Jones stack already. We can, if we really, really want to, we can secure the Jacob Hollister, recent tight end who signed and is probably already tight end 1 on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cut by the Bills, former Seattle Seahawk. All they have out there is like James O'Shaughnessy and Jacob Hollister, so we can get him late if we really want to secure that stack. Jacoby Myers goes at the end of round 10. That looks really strong. So now I'm good. 2 quarterbacks, I'm set there. 7 receivers. I'm going to take probably 2 more, so I'm set there for the most part. And now we need to start looking at running backs. Tight end, I'll wait on. Just at this point, it's all the same fucking dudes. Gronk, Jonnu, Jared Cook, Gesicki, Zach Ertz, Hunter Henry, Gerald Everett. Like, these are all the same fucking dudes to me. We're a couple picks away now. The guys in front of me have 5 and 4 running backs, so I'm really hoping that they don't take another running back. I would like to go Nyheim Hines here as my RB2 and then come right back around with a quick pick and get like a Ramondre Stevenson, who might not seem like the best option, but I'm just shooting for upside at this point. So, good. We get back around to my pick here. Michael Carter's still there. I'm taking Nyheim Hines over Michael Carter. I mean, Nyheim Hines is the clear third down back, number 2 in a lot of overall total numbers last year in terms of yards per route run for running backs, receptions, targets, all this type of stuff. So we get our second running back there. That feels good. And there's still some solid ones left. There's like our RB3s and 4s. Like J.D. McKissick is still there. I'm going to take J.D. McKissick. There was not much usage of Antonio Gibson on third downs in the preseason. I don't think J.D. McKissick will benefit from double-digit target games with Fitzpatrick like he did with Mr. Alex Smith, who had a very low average depth of target. Alrighty. Jalen Hurts, somebody just reached out to me on Twitter. Hey, man, isn't using fellas in your videos leaving out a large majority of your following? Females are about 1%, and we do value them a ton of my following. But we value them a ton, and that is the reason why the first word out of my mouth every time is ladies and gentlemen, fellas, fellas, fellas. So my man out there trying to cancel people in the streets of YouTube because he ain't got nothing better to do at 7 a.m. in the morning. Damn, you hate to see it. He got to get in these best ball drafts. That's what he got to be doing. I mean, you hate to see it. So every time a quarterback goes up the board at this point, we're feeling really good because we don't want none of them motherfucking quarterbacks, to be honest with you. And this draft is going so quick. I wonder if a lot of these people, since it's so early, are just like joining contests and have preset rankings, because this draft is going extremely. Ramondre Stevenson goes. That's a little bit of a kick to the dick, but I want J.D. McKissic here, so I'm hoping he falls to me. So we'll double tap running back here in rounds 11 and 12. He falls to me, so I'm going to go J.D. McKissic, who's another pass-catching upside running back like Nyheim Hines, which is what I was trying to aim for out of a James White. It just did not happen to end up falling to us. Now, you can see right here, receivers are just not going. It's all quarterbacks, it's all running backs, it's all tight ends, which is interesting. I think receivers are going to start to pick back up as they do right now. I think that's just a random spot in the draft where people just didn't feel the need to go there. I definitely don't, since I have 7. All right. Nelson Aguilar, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Nelson Aguilar goes, Marquez Valdez-Scantling goes. So now, I mean, as we just said, receivers are going to fly off the board 5 in a row. Go again, I don't want receivers, so this is good for me. Do I want to pound a 4th running back? Like, do I want to go Wayne Gallman, who's my next? Well, actually, Alexander Mattison is still available. I don't know if I want to pound 3 running backs in a row, but, I mean, my only other alternatives are pick up my 8th receiver at this point. I don't need a quarterback. Pick up a tight end who, again, they all look the fucking same at this point. It's still probably another round or two till I pick a tight end. Like, I'd rather just take a Tyler Conklin late. I think I'm going to go with my 4th running back, so just 3 running backs in a row, which I don't think is something I've done all best ball season. But Alexander Mattison is there screaming at me right now to take him in round fucking 13. So I'm going to do that. He has standalone value to an extent, but obviously Dalvin Cook going down would be the big upside there for Alexander Mattison. There's still strong running backs. I'll probably pick up a 5th one later on because I don't know how early people are going to pull the trigger on Wayne Gallman, who I think is worth it, who I think is right in this range of the RB50s. He's my running back 49. Justice Hill and Taishan Williams, whichever one you think wins out the job there. Hill brings a little bit more versatility from a pass-catching standpoint. You just have to ask yourself, do they actually give a shit about that in Baltimore? The answer is probably no, but also at least a little more versatility helps. And he's also a proven veteran. I know Tyshon Williams, who benefited in my pockets, starting him 2 out of the 3 weeks in preseason football, if not all 3, I think, because he didn't have much competition. Nate McGurry, I think, got cut and signed with Denver, and then Denver cuts Royce Freeman. The cuts are all over the fucking place right now in my head. But you get Taishan Williams, who had a great preseason, sure, because he had a lot of volume against 2nd and 3rd stringers in most of the second halves. So he had a fine preseason. He had 2 big plays, 1 long touchdown run, and then another 22-yard run that really stood out to me. I thought he looked fine. I don't really know if he's better than Justice Hill because Justin Hill was hurt in the preseason. So I think people are just like kind of looking at that preseason results and thinking that he is like the best guy possible for these guys. Jalen Reagor. I got people reaching out to me on Twitter right now talking about the Drake album because they know that your boy's here. They know that your boy's here. Do not disturb. Do not disturb is an all-timer. Man asking me about the Drake vibes. Let me know in the comments if you're moshing out to Beautiful Lover Boy. Certified Lover Boy, Beautiful Lover Boy. I was singing Beautiful Girls earlier in the bed by Sean Kingston, saying how weird of a song it is. How happy, my girlfriend and I were talking about how happy he is. Like when I don't know if it's irony or if it's just the fact that he's like from Jamaica or somewhere, Kingston. So, aka his last name, or at least his last name for rap, I believe that is. But I mean, he's just like singing happily, like you had me suicidal when he said it's over, which is like very sad, but saying it so happily. So when I was younger, when I was a kid in high school and at school dances and we're all jumping down, up and down and singing that, I can only imagine all of the chaperones there were probably like, what the fuck is one, this song, and 2, this whole scene right now of just these kids screaming that they're suicidal in like a happy way. I'm on the fucking clock. So I'm good at running back. I'm looking at receiver. I'm seeing some nice names left, like a Sterling Shepard, like a Traquan Smith. I'm going to go Traquan Smith here. Here's the thing with Traquan Smith. We'll secure my 9th guy. I mean, Jameis Winston's still on the board too. Late, by the way, the best late-round quarterback currently that goes. I mean, we're in round 14. He's still on the board. Next pick is probably going to be a tight end at this point because I should probably secure one in round 15 with only 15, 16, 4 rounds left. I need 2 tight ends. Somebody just picked Evan Ingram, who might be out for the season, who might be going on IR. So that's not great. So I get my 8th wide receiver there, and it's Traquan Smith. Marquez Callaway has looked great. He had the 2 contested catches by Jameis, amazing catches for touchdowns in the preseason. He's looked great. I can't say anything bad about him. The only thing I can say about him is I was getting him in the 18th round 2 months ago, and I really don't want to pay 7th to 8th round value right now. The actual value and best pick now in this New Orleans Saints receiving core, if you're talking about value, not their overall skills, is 6, 7 rounds later in Traquan Smith, who is also going to have the same quarterback in Jameis Winston with him. I can't believe how quick this draft is going. We are through 15. We're in the 15th round, and we are already down to we haven't even been drafting for a half hour. This is crazy. Randall Cobb goes. I'm going to take a tight end here. Christian Kirk goes. So the tight ends that we have left right now, they're not great. Gerald Everett went. I mean, this is what you get for waiting on tight ends. Eric Ebron looks solid to me. I don't know why a lot of people don't like taking him. Cole Kmet's here. Tyler Conklin's here, who's somebody that I want to be taking later on. So I don't know if I have to take him this early. So let's go Cole Kmet. I'll secure my first tight end, who is going to be the second 2A, 2B option with Darnell Mooney out in Chicago. So we'll go Cole Kmet there. I'm going to try and get Tyler Conklin late because I now have him as my tight end 22, which is pretty solid. Eric Ebron's my next best available with Irv Smith done for the year. I think Tyler Conklin, who last year saw, I believe, 21 targets in the 4 games without Irv Smith, or with Irv Smith towards the end of the year without Kyle Rudolph. That's pretty damn impressive. Taishan Williams goes. So we have 3 picks left. I have 4 running backs, two quarterbacks I'm set with. I'm going to get another tight end, so then we'll have 2 picks left. I'll probably get another receiver to get to 9 since I'm so top-heavy at receiver, and then I'll probably pick up a 5th running back. So Tyler Conklin and Eric Ebron will be and also Anthony Fursker. Tyler Kroft to an extent as well, now that he doesn't have Chris Herndon there. He's the clear number 1. These will be the 4 tight ends that I'm fine picking from probably my last pick with. Just looking in general at receiver now, Rashad Bateman and Sammy Watkins. Those are guys, if not both of them, although I probably want to get another running back. But one of those guys, whichever one falls, I'm going to try and stack up with Lamar Jackson. Bateman would be my preferred option, and he'll be back by like week 4. So you miss out on 3 weeks of the Lamar stack, but the mobile upside keeps you alive those weeks with Lamar. Getting Trevor Lawrence and Marvin Jones feels good. So this has definitely not been the best stacked team in terms of like double stacks, but I'm fine right here with what I have so far. So I'll try and get Rondell Moore, or not Rondell Moore, I just saw him in my rankings. Rashad Bateman, we're still pretty far away though, and he's the best available. But Bateman and Sammy Watkins are my preferred options, and then I'm going to look at running back here, and it's just a bunch of dudes. Like, it's all the same fucking dudes. Wayne Gallman, if he's still available, will be the guy that I'll go to, unless Justice Hill is still out there. Justice Hill is still out there, and we'll star Wayne Gallman. 2 guys that I think will be backups and see a lot of usage. I mean, Gallman, at this point, he's literally just Mike Davis. So, like, people that are like, Wayne Gallman's not that good. He's literally Mike Davis. Journeyman running backs who are not great, who both had opportunities last year and did fine in them. Mike Davis, 8 top 24 finishes. Wayne Gallman, 7. So it's not like Mike Davis was superbly better than him. So those are 2 guys. Lots of just great RB5 options down here, by the way, as well. I mean, there's just so many of, like, strong backups, like a Jerick McKinnon style player. There goes Nico Collins. Yeah, I mean, if Bateman wants to fall to me, I'll take him. Obviously, if Sterling Shepard falls, we'll take him too. My guess is that Michael Thomas went very early. He went super early. His ADP's in the top 100. He's like right 13th round is where I would consider taking Michael Thomas. Have a video on that too. As we were closing up the draft with the last couple of picks, I'm almost on the board. Kenny Gainwell going over a lot of these running backs is just absolutely terrible of like a draft pick. But yeah, just check out Underdog if you want to. It's linked down below. Sammy Watkins goes. Do not take Rashad Bateman here. Back-to-back receivers that I could have stacked Lamar with go right before me. That would be a late round dagger. But if you want to draft an Underdog, check it out down below. Use the link. You can use the code SAL, S-A-L. We get Rashad Bateman here to stack up. He's our 9th and final receiver. We stack him up with Lamar late. We love to see that. Yes, he'll miss 2 to 3 weeks, but he's the best receiver on this team. I've got 8 other receivers to carry me for those 2 to 3 weeks, and Lamar Jackson's mobile upside will carry me if you're trying to find the stacks, as well as that Trevor Lawrence stack. So we're good there. Now we're just going to close it up with a tight end and a running back. The running backs that I'm shooting for here are Justice Hill and Wayne Gallman. It's kind of a coin flip. I mean, Justice Hill, obviously the better running offense, probably gets more involvement overall, but does he get beat out by Taishan Williams? Wayne Gallman now the clear RB2, if not 1B, 1A, 1B. He would be the 1B just because he got there late, doesn't know the playbook as much as a Mike Davis. So that's where I'm going to try and go. Any of these tight ends in round 18, Croft, Conklin, and Eric Ebron, I assume they'll all be there. A lot of the guys already have taken 2 to 3 tight ends in this draft. But you can draft down below. You could use the link in the description to go over, sign up for Underdog. Play in these best balls. They're a ton of fun. They'll be going until the season starts, and then they'll have props, and they'll have other tournaments in season as well. So check it out. It'll be linked down below. That code SAL gets you $25 Rooskies to play with. If you want my rankings, if you still have not yet drafted, this video will be releasing. I'm also recording this a day in advance. Probably should have said that at the beginning. So this video will be releasing on Saturday morning. I'm recording it on Friday morning. So if anything major changes in the next day, that is why. But if you want to see my rankings, if you're drafting tonight, whatever it might be, you can check them out. They're all linked down below in the draft guide. There's 2 ways to get it. Both are described in that link. If you're eligible for option number 1, you'll get it as an add-on bonus for free. So Wayne Gallman and Justice Hill are here. As my RB5, what are my bye weeks? Let's see if that actually matters. These guys have different bye weeks. That really doesn't matter. None of my guys have the same bye weeks as these running backs left. So I'm going to go with Justice Hill here. I like Wayne Gallman too. But I need to get a last tight end. So I feel fine with that. 5 running backs. I usually take 4, but we didn't get the strongest of running backs, so we'll be fine there. I mean, Justice Hill is going to have a role in this team because he can catch passes. It's just a matter of how much of a role, whereas Wayne Gallman, we know what his role is going to be automatically, the RB2. Final guy here at the tight end position. Tyler Croft, Eric Ebron, and Tyler Conklin all look similar. I think Tyler Conklin has the highest upside. I think Eric Ebron is the safest option in terms of what's left. 18th round. I know they have Pat Freiermuth, but they'll run a lot of 2 tight end sets. He'll be on the field a lot. I mean, he was top 10 in targets and routes run last year when he was healthy. So I think that whoever kind of falls to me, but all these guys have 2 or 3 tight ends at this point, so I think that I'll be fine at this point. Can't believe this guy said using fellows in all of your follow asks, I don't know what that means, leaves out a large segment of potential viewers. No, I said the first word I say is ladies, sir. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. My man's looking to cancel people over using the word fellas online. You hate to see it these days. You hate to see it. Alrighty. Drink that coffee out of straw. Metal straw too, because plastic be, lowering your testosterone the more stuff you eat with plastic. I don't know if you looked into this, but check it out. Lowers your ability to reproduce as a male. Obviously, there's links to cancer, but lowers your ability to reproduce as a male. Lowers your testosterone levels the more that you eat things either packaged in plastic, drink out of plastic straws, microwave stuff that's in plastic, which so many people do, right? The little plastic wraps on the little plastic dinner packs. Yeah. Shit's scary. Chris Herndon goes in the 18th round. So this final round pick, I'm going to go Tyler Conklin over Eric Ebron because I think there's a little bit more upside there, especially for the offense that they'll play him. I think he's a better player than Eric Ebron at this stage in their careers, of course, not where Eric Ebron was drafted in the first round by Detroit years ago. But that's where we're at. An 18-round draft where I took 5 running backs. I took 9 receivers. I went receiver heavy to start. 7 receivers with my first 9 picks. We have the stack with Marvin Jones and Trevor Lawrence. We have the stack with Lamar and his number 1 receiver, Rashad Bateman, who will be back after a few weeks. And feel good about that. We got 2 tight ends late. I don't love those tight ends, Cole Kmet and Tyler Conklin, but 2 guys who have upside, maybe shaky floors, but have upside at the position. If one hits, we're looking really good. And then my running backs, DeAndre Swift, massive upside at that spot in the late 4th round. And then 4 running backs after that who can all potentially have some big upside. J.D. McKissick, standalone value. Naeem Hines, standalone value, and red zone usage. We're on the board now. Eric Ebron actually went, so this makes the Tyler Conklin pick a lot easier, assuming my bye weeks are not the same. Cole Kmet's is week 10. Tyler Conklin's is week 7. That's where we end the draft with Tyler Conklin. And then some other running backs, are just solid running backs. Let's talk about them, right? DeAndre Swift, Naeem Hines, J.D. McKissick, Alexander Madison, Justice Hill. Those guys might all seem like awful running backs to you, but my reason for drafting them is I already have Swift. I know Naeem Hines and McKissick are going to have production week in and week out, and then upside plays with Madison and Justice Hill in offenses that want to run the ball. They're literally built to run the ball in Minnesota and Baltimore. We'll take those guys all day who also have standalone value. And then receiver was just, this was incredible. Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and A.J. Brown to start my draft. Then Odell, then Sutton, then Marvin Jones, and Will Fuller. I'll take those start at my first 7 receivers, I believe it was. I can't believe we got Adams, Jefferson, and A.J. Brown, though, the first 3 picks. Yeah, so that's my number 1 draft strategy. If you're drafting at picks, honestly, 5 through probably 10, even 12, I'm trying to get a stud receiver in Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, one of those 2 really. Steph Diggs takes a little bit of a drop downwards because I've only seen him do it 1 year, but I'm trying to take one of those 2 stud receivers and then just load the fuck up. If you're drafting in the first 4 picks, yeah, take that stud running back. Take in this order for me personally, might be different for you, but in this order for me personally, I would take probably pick 5 is right where it changes with Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams, but I would take the CMCs, the Zekes, the Aaron Jones, the Dalvin Cooks, the Kamaras, one of those guys, whichever one you like the most with those first 4 picks. Aaron Jones is kind of the coin flip one with Devontae Adams, and bang, then you just go through the rest. So thank you for tuning. It also depends on your league scoring. This is half point PPR, so I went with Devontae Adams there. But thank you for tuning in. Yeah, this was a quick draft, less than 40 minutes. You all rock. I'll see you all in the next one. We might do, this is going to be dropping, I believe, on Saturday, but we might do another one of these on Monday. I might just do another one, get as many as we can in by the end of the year, continue to help you guys pick from certain spots. Check it out. Check out Underdog down below. Check out the rankings. All that stuff's in the description. Any questions, let me know in the comment section. Yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, gang.